What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus update and daily news report for Thursday, April 28th. So it finally happened. We are finally now seeing the reports of the US could possibly be in the middle of a recession right now. Now, this is the new report that came out this morning. I want to address what it said and why this is so concerning, especially if you were hoping there would be additional stimulus spending. You were hoping the federal government would come in and help out millions and millions of struggling Americans. This report is not going to provide the government with any additional incentive to push out more relief. And I want to address why. Okay? So here's what I can tell you. One of the reasons Democrats are facing an uphill battle is because climate spending or any additional social programs are likely going to put more upward pressure on inflation. That's not good. Okay? With the U.S. economy declining, our GDP declined by 0.4% over the first quarter of 2022. Annualized, this comes out to about 1.4% negative. Okay? That's negative. That's not good. Now, many people have wondered, how much more spending could the U.S. economy really endure without putting more upward pressure on inflation? Well, according to multiple reports, we can't endure much more. We are already pretty much maxed out. And that's the problem, is that there was so much stimulus, so much spending that has happened over the past 2 years that we're now seeing the effects of it, and it's not good. Now, moderate Democrats originally warned other lawmakers, and this happened in the summer of 2021, and they warned everybody that we can't keep spending like we were. We have to figure out a happy medium. They said our national deficit was a major problem. And this was one of the reasons why Senator Joe Manchin, he now wants to see 50% of any new tax revenue go directly towards paying down our national deficit. That's a little bit of an issue because, according to many Democrats, why would we bring in new revenue just to pay down our deficit when there hasn't been any indications that we are heading towards a recession, that we are going to default on our debts? Why would we do that? Well, that's one side. The other side is our $30 trillion in debt is now so much that we have to tackle this issue and we need to do it quickly. The other problem is, where is inflation headed? And this was something that Senator Joe Manchin has been very clear on, that he was worried that inflation was going to continue to run up, which it has. Now, he's also made it very clear that he doesn't support any additional spending if its purpose is not to tackle inflation. Okay? That's a big deal. And one of the things that is currently being discussed is, well, how do we reduce the price of gas? What could we do? That's still on the table. What's up for discussion and what's actually going to happen, nobody knows. Because right now, not even Congress knows what they're going to do. But what I can tell you is that there are still some things that could help with inflation. One of those things is, what if we remove or reduce the tariffs on China? Right? Could happen. And this would actually lower the cost of goods, and that would help out with inflation. But again, that's only one thing. That's only one solution. And according to multiple experts, they say we have to have multiple solutions. We have to have many options on the table, or else we would not be able to tackle inflation in a meaningful or in a quick manner. So we'll see what happens there. But here's what I think is very interesting. What is interesting about all the arguments out there is that our annualized GDP decline of 1.4%. Now, this is according to some, this is good because we knew that we would see a decline. We just didn't know when. We didn't know what happened this early. We also didn't know, would the effects of the war between Russia and Ukraine, would that impact us so heavily and so quickly? Well, it seems like it has. Will we stop spending money after there's no additional stimulus or those child tax credit payments just simply went away and expired, well, it seems like we have stopped spending money, right? As prices rose because of inflation, because of the war, because of supply chains, because of COVID, if all those things, okay, have slowed down our economy, could this be just a 1 quarter of a GDP decline and next quarter it grows? It's quite possible. But again, we could also be in a recession. But what's very interesting is with our annualized GDP decline of 1.4% is that consumer spending grew by 0.7% in the first quarter as well. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what the second quarter of 2022 brings and how consumers react. But this is one of the things I think a lot of people don't realize. They keep spending money. That's actually going to continue to push up inflation. That's going to cause additional harm, maybe not now, but in the future, and not everyone's going to feel it. For instance, let's say you decided you wanted to buy a car at the end of 2021. Okay, great, you bought a car. Well, if everybody decided to buy a car at the end of 2021, guess what? It pushed up prices, right? It took products and new and used vehicles off the market, which now left us with less. And if there's not enough supply and there's a lot of demand, prices will go up. So again, consumers may not realize this, but every time you buy something, it is putting more pressure on upward inflation. So will the American consumers continue to spend money? Or will they decide to stop spending and save, which would cause our GDP to likely decline even further, which would definitely push us into a recession? It's possible. But again, we may not know for another 3 months whether or not we are actually in a recession or not. So, one of the things I can tell you is, well, first off, how does this really factor into what Democrats are trying to do? Well, what I have said for months is that Democrats don't have the time to waste and to try to wait and pass their agenda. And now passing a large spending bill, even a climate bill, is going to be seen as a tougher task. And the main reason for this is because Democrats would need to get all 50 Senate Democrats on board with taxing America's wealthiest individuals in order to pay for this bill. That's how it's going to be paid for. But here's the truth. The truth is that Democrats don't have all the time in the world to see this through. Some were hoping to see a bill passed before July 4th. However, that timeline has quickly changed. Now they're saying Memorial Day, which is just 32 days away. So, as far as Democrats are concerned, how likely are they going to be to get some type of bill passed? It's not looking great. Now, I can tell you right now that there's still going to be open discussions. There's still going to be some talks of, hey, let's get this done. Let's pass this climate spending bill. Or let's do some additional social programs. It's not going to be to the tune of $2.5 trillion. It probably won't even be $1 trillion. We are probably looking at a bill that, my guess, is between $400 to $600 billion. And that would have to be 100% fully funded. If it is not, we would not see that bill go through. Okay? So, it is happening. We are seeing the GDP decline. We are seeing the U.S. is potentially on the verge of a recession. And if we are in a recession, what should you be doing? Well, here's a few things. The number one thing you need to be doing is you need to increase your income. Okay? Number one thing. Do whatever you can to increase your income, and I'd highly recommend you do not just work more hours. Okay? And the reason for this is because you want to diversify. And just working more hours for the same company that you work for, and they give you a bigger check, even though that's great, you can make more money. The problem is, if we do dip into a recession or we're close, what if that company decides to lay you off? 100% of your income is gone. Okay? So diversify. Make more money. That's the first thing. Second thing is to pay down debt. As interest rates increase, debt will become more expensive. Okay? If you didn't lock in a rate, like on a mortgage or on a vehicle, it will get more expensive. If you're using credit cards, well, try not to, or pay them off every single month. Okay? So first thing, make more money. Second thing, pay down debt. Third thing, save. Save some money. That's going to be key. Save a little bit of money now because you could use it in the future. The fourth, and again, when I say save, I'm talking about 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. That's it. Next, invest. Do you know the best time to invest? The best time to invest is going to be at the bottom, right? The bottom of the market. Well, when is the bottom of the market most likely going to occur? It's probably going to happen during a recession, right? Makes sense. Well, if we are in a recession right now, today could be the best time of the year to buy. Well, technically it's probably yesterday or even 2 days ago, but again, in the bottom of a recession. Now, we don't know how long the recession is going to be. It could keep coming down. It could come down for 2 years, for 8 consecutive quarters. We don't know, right? It could happen, but we don't know. So what I can tell you is if you continue to buy in to your investments, you continue to put money in a recession, chances are as soon as we get out of this recession, it's just going to skyrocket. And those investments that you made will eventually pay off. Okay? Now, this isn't financial advice. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a insight as to what should the steps be. Because a lot of people say, oh, I only have an extra like $50 a month. What should I do? Well, you should use that money to make more money. $50 a month is not going to do you a whole lot if you go and invest it, pay down debt, or save it. But if you use that to make more money, that's really going to help. Because once you get an extra $500, an extra $1,000 a month, that's where it's substantial enough that you could do something with it and use that to really help you and better your life. So that's what's going on right now. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.